Yo, what's going on, everybody? What is up? Got a couple things going on here. We are going to be giving away some more cool stuff. We're going to be talking about rhythm changes. I see we have some people jumping into the chat, so I'm going to let some more people get in here. Today is going to be all about a really common chord progression called rhythm changes. And if this is your first time here, I am Jesse Ricca. This is my live lesson here with IK Multimedia. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I have music out on Spotify under the Ricca Project. My band's tag all the way over here. So check that out online. I'm just gonna sign into this chat thing real quick. Sign me out as I restarted my computer here. So I might flash for 1 second, but I will be right back. LT. What's going on? Sorry about that, guys. My chat seems to be having a little bit of issues, so Ryan's going to help me out here and keep me up to date with some of your questions and stuff. So again, we are going to be giving out 150 gear credits that can be used in Custom Shop. Now, so if you don't have Custom Shop or Amplitude, check those things out. I have Amplitude up here in the corner. That's a program I'm going to be running through today where it's going to give me all these nice sounds. Right, so Ryan's going to be feeding me some of your questions here as we go along. So today is all about rhythm changes, right? We focus on this one a lot in jazz, right? I'm going to pull up the chart here. We're really not going to be looking too much at amplitude this time around. And remember to hang out to the end. That's where I'm going to ask the question, and I'm going to need your answer and your IK account, and then you are eligible to win the 150 gear credits, right? So stick around for that. We're going to be going again over rhythm changes pretty much the whole time. We're going to talk about a couple heads that you can play over it, right? So rhythm changes is that old song, I got rhythm, I got music. Who could ask for anything more, right? But a lot of people have taken those chord changes, right, and wrote different melodies to them. Songs like Oleo or Anthropology, Moose the Mooch, Second Balcony Jump. These are all like all tunes that are written over these chord changes, because in music, you can't copyright chord changes. You copyright the melody, right? So that's why you find all these tunes that have the same chords. I mean, blues music is based off it's off feel and a certain style, but really based off of these certain set of chord changes. So if you could copyright those chord changes, there'd be one blues song, not a whole genre of blues, right? So we got a whole bunch of cool stuff we're going to be working on today. We're going to be talking about how to really play this. I tend to find that this is one of those things that can be tricky to play, because if you look, there are quite a lot of chord changes in this one, right? So if we look, we got like B, right? So 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, 2, 5, a 4, right? That should probably be a major 7. Actually, that chart's a little funky there. So this E flat should be E flat major 7, but and then A7, and then 3, 6, 2, 5. Then it goes back to 1. We have a second ending here. That's what that is. So we're going to be talking a little bit how to approach this a couple different ways. First thing you should do is just, first off, let's just find out the basic things that we're going to need here, right? So we're really playing most of the time all in B flat. Sorry, Ryan's feeding me some questions here, right? So we're going to be playing almost this entire thing in B flat here, right? So all this whole top part, all B flat. Right here, right? This 2-5 to E flat, that's where you're going to want to change your first time. We're going to like change the key in the progression, right? So we have 2, 5 of E, 2, 5 of 4. That's how you would really think of that. 2, 5 of 4. So 2, 5 going to E flat, and then we have this. I almost think of this as like a backdoor 2, 5. How does this apply to backing tracks? I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. Sorry, Mr. Andrew Weber. I know, as far as backing tracks, how would this apply? I think you mean maybe like soloing over it. That's what we're talking about today, is really how to improvise over something like this that has a lot of changes and that changes keys, right? And how we can go about it. This tends to be, well, first off, it's a very commonly called chord progression. If you go to like a jazz jam or something like this, they're definitely going to call some sort of rhythm changes head, right? Whether it's oleo or anthropology or something along those lines, right? This is one of those. This is a chord progression that you see very frequently, and then I notice a lot of my students when they first start to do it are like, I don't know how to do this. And for me, it was the same thing where I would be like, I would try to make the changes every single chord, and if you notice, there's so many chords here that if you're making every single chord change, it's gonna really limit what you can do. You're gonna have to be playing a lot of eighth notes and make it. So the real thing we're gonna talk about is how to build some lines and how to go back and forth between making changes really well and building these kind of ideas that are more in a key. Because if you notice here, we're really playing almost all B flat, and then we got an E flat section right here. This little turnaround for A flat. I kind of think of that as like a backdoor 2-5, and then 6, 2, 5, 1. So we're gonna talk about how to play over that, and then when we get to here, right, we have this section here. Whoop. Right, we have D7 going, and then we have G7, C7, F7. And you're going to change key for each one of those, right? D mixolydian, G mixolydian, C mixolydian, F mixolydian, right? If you don't know mixolydian, first off, you should learn that mode. It's super important, and if you're playing blues or jazz, you're going to be using that quite often. But if you need to relate back to the major scale, this would be G, right? We'd be thinking G major, I guess the G major scale, the C major scale, the F major scale, and the B flat major scale, right? But we really want to be thinking mixolydian, and we can get some cool bebop licks in there, right, over those dominant chords. So today is pretty much all going to be about this. So I'm going to take this a couple different ways. The first way I'm going to show you we can do it is by making the changes. And the tricky thing about this one is, like, when you're playing jazz, typically if you're making changes, you're gonna sound good, because the chord changes tend to be not your typical like in one key, right? Like we tend to break the key pretty often, and we play the chords, not really a key. In this case, we're actually gonna go and play a key for a little bit, just because the chord changes are so frequent that if you make each one, it's gonna really limit you to what you can play. So I have a loop here that I've set up here with these chords, and I'm going to play a chorus of me just making the changes really hard, where I'm just like, I'm getting to thirds and sevenths pretty much on beat 1 for each chord, right? Because that's how we make the changes. If you're new to how to create in lines that outline the chord changes, right? We're going to be targeting thirds and sevenths. That's the first step on beats 1 and 3 in this case. Excuse me. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you some of that. We're just going to make the changes as we go here. So let me get this going. So it's a nice slow tempo. Let me start it. 1 2 1 2 3 4. Constant. Right? So I didn't leave too much space there because I was just trying to make all the changes, get to thirds and sevenths on beat 1. Strong chord tones on beat 1, beat 3, where these chords are. Right? But if you noticed, the phrase, like, I wasn't really building any really nice motifs or really something memorable, because I had to pretty much play the whole time to make those changes. Right? I couldn't really... There isn't much space to leave when the chords are going there. So the way we can get out of that is more play it like a key. And that's where you're going to come up with some I think some much better lines and much more musical stuff. The first thing is a good practice, right? Because you should be able to do that, right? I should maybe go practice it a little bit more. Some of that was a little sketchy, but most of it was really good. So that's a good thing to practice, but probably not to really be creating over. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just probably play the first part for you a couple times, because that's where the tricky part is. Everyone's like, oh man, good relief here on the B section with all these long chords. Here, let's go ahead. I got a couple questions that came in here. All right. Okay, so this, I can show you real quick on Amplitude which one I'm using. Really basic setup for that. I'll come back to the chart in just a sec. Here, I could blow this up for you. So this is the amp that I am using. I have almost nothing on it, but if you see, I really EQ'd it well. And the secret in this one, oh, here, let me get, I'm clicking on this like it's the app. So the secret to this sound is really here, where I mic the cab. So I have this cabinet, I have the jazz speakers in there. That's what's so great about this program. This is the thing for me which made me fall in love with this thing. When I first got it, I was like, oh, okay, this sounds cool. And then I found this, and then Ryan showed me this feature, and I was like, oh man, this is a game-changing piece of software, because the sounds you can dial in, the room tone is typically what's missing. I tend to notice with some of these amp simulators or any kind of digital stuff, the room sound is what I'm dying to hear more of. That's when it sounds a little too like, oh, that doesn't sound like a real guitar, you know, because it doesn't have any it has no space. It feels like it's too direct of a signal. But that's how I'm getting this sound. Just a little bit of EQ, a little bit of EQing, and then getting that room sound real nice. And I see I have another question before we go into it. Can you change the pace? Can I change the pace with just one finger? Do we make the changes with just one finger? Change the pace? I'm not sure 100% what you mean there. I think you might mean, can I make the changes with just one finger? Yeah, you could do that. That's a good way to practice too, is find common chord tones to make the changes well, right? So B flat and G and G7 are both have D. That's the third of B flat, and then the seventh of G. So that's a good chord tone to land on, and then you can go the other way. Now at D7. Right, so that was the form, and hopefully you could hear the changes in there really well. But now that I've kind of done it that way once or twice for you, so you could hear the changes super hard in the playing. When I've done I did a Dexter Gordon transcription of a Second Balcony Jump, which was a rhythm changes, and I also did, who else did I do? I'm pretty sure I did a rhythm changes for Grant Green back in the day. I forgot which one it was. But and Kenny Burrell. I definitely did a Kenny Burrell one. And I noticed the way they could play these choruses so often was they would go switch back and forth from that, making the changes real hard, to just playing kind of like motifs and phrases that are in one key, right? So like I'm going to think of this whole first 4 bars really as B. And what's cool is you don't have to use just the major scale. Since we have all these kind of chords changing that are slightly kind of off the typical B flat major scale, it kind of gives you some room to incorporate some of the blues sounds there, and of course, using some of your kind of jazz like ties and enclosures and anticipations, right? So like even though like E isn't a good note to be on B flat, but I'm going to use it going into a good note. So you can maybe hear that. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I didn't hit the thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I feel like that solo had a little bit more of life to it because I was using some more stuff that wasn't just get to this chord, get to that chord, get to this chord. I was trying to build some nice phrases and use some like more traditional bebop language, right? And getting down with some of the more chromatic stuff and some fun enclosures and everything. We're gonna keep it moving here. So another thing you can do. So Jenny, see if I got any more questions here. Right. So this lesson we got pretty specific, right? So another fun thing you can do here on rhythm changes to have some fun with these changes, right? Are start to imply different things, right? So we have like this D7 here, so you can imply a lot of cool things here. Instead of D7, you can think of this as like a 2-5 if you want to just do have some different changes to think about, right? You can do like a tritone thing, do like half of that part, right? So what I was thinking there is 2, 3, 4. Right? So I was thinking D, D, A flat leading to G, 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 right? D flat leading to C, 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 F sharp leading to F, 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 B natural leading to B. And really I was just doing it like, just like arpeggiating it so you could really hear it. Let's hear it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So that's the other thing you can do once you've gotten this kind of down. And and another more like straightforward substitution you could put there is you can make them 2-5-1. We can make these like 2-5s. So instead of D7, we can be thinking A minor 7, D7, D minor 7, G7, G minor 7, C7, C minor 7, F7. And what that's going to do is if you outline those changes, it'll help you come up with maybe some different phrases you wouldn't normally think to do. And because they have different chord tones in them, right? So if I was thinking A7 to D7, like A minor 7 to D7, I might accent that E a little more on the first chord as I'm thinking, right? And I wouldn't normally think to do that over D7, because it's really not a chord tone. I'm not making the changes that I wouldn't be making the changes too strong. But when you think of that sub, that's kind of why it's good to get out of making the changes on this tune the whole time. So let's kind of give a listen to that. I'm gonna just having fun with the B section here. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Just kind of did it in a different position there. Sorry, I gotta get my hands over here. Do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are some really fun ways that you can like take these changes and have some fun with them. Get away from some of the normal ways you would think to play it, and some of the and get away from making the changes so hard because it's so limiting with all these chord changes. And again, some of the tritone and sub stuff, and some of the stuff we applied to this section, the B section here, you can also apply it here. It's a little harder because it's moving faster, right? That's why a lot of guys, practice it here, because sometimes you're playing this tune, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. People tend to call rhythm changes pretty fast. Like I very rarely have I was doing it kind of slow for example's sake and everything, but most of the time people are calling this one pretty fast on gigs. They're like, and they expect you to know the head and probably do it unison, and most of the time when you're playing these heads, there'll be a written part for the A section, right? But the B section will be improvised. Like you'll have someone just blow over these chords, and sometimes there's a written part. I know Second Balcony had a written part, and I think Anthropology does. Yeah, it has a pretty common B section that everybody plays. But so that was our lesson today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'm going to go ahead and ask the question now. What is one of your favorite scales to improvise with? Right? It can be the blues scale, just the good old major scale, the bebop scale. Maybe you're really into the sub stuff. Maybe you really like melodic minor, and or you like the diminished scale. What is one of your favorite scales? And so send me your favorite scale to improvise with. Right? It can be the major blues scale, minor blues scale, all that fun stuff. The major scale, anything. One of your favorite scales to improvise with, pentatonic scales. That's another good one. And then, of course, your IK Multimedia account. Send it on over to us. We got 150 gear credits that you can use in Custom Shop. So if you want to be eligible to win that, send over your answer and your IK account now. We're gonna take just a little bit of time. I have Ryan on the other end here helping me out. He's gonna select a winner here, and then while the answers are coming in, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just play a little bit for you guys. All right, got this track going here. I'll have some fun, and then when Ryan gets back to us, I will announce a winner. 1, 2, 3, 4. how we're doing over here. And I think, do we have a winner? All right, here he is. Great, so Dean Lloyd, you are the winner. He said he likes that good old pentatonic scale. He's on, oh, cool. So you're coming at us from Facebook. Awesome, awesome. I know we're doing cross-platform here. We're on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and I think somewhere else too. Some other social media sites I don't even know about. We're like all over the place right now. Crazy. But Dean Lloyd, thank you so much for hanging out with us and sending in your answer. He likes the good old pentatonic scale. You can use the pentatonic scale on this one for sure. Yeah, you kind of have to mess around a little bit with it, but you could definitely always use those pentatonic scales and work on those different cool pentatonic patterns they got going on that they're using the. All right. All that kind of cool stuff you can do. It's like a who uses a ton of pentatonics? Good horn players. There's a lot of them. I know Joe Henderson uses some cool pentatonic stuff, and Chris Potter uses a lot of pentatonic stuff. Michael Brecker, that's kind of like a thing they did a little bit later. But awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and going over rhythm changes again. We are going to be here every Thursday, so we will be back next week with a whole new lesson and another chance for someone to win some cool software, some more credits, something. We're always having a good time here, giving away some fun stuff. And if you haven't, guys, check out Amplitude, awesome program that they got out right now. And of course, I forgot to promote this in the beginning, but the iRig stream. These things might be sold out. I mean, everybody's live streaming, but if you're live streaming, you want good sound, this is what you need. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We will be back next week. Take care, everybody.